Currently, only 1 in 4 businesses in Britain is run by a woman, and I think that that needs to change.
We keep choosing the man.
Women's work is absolutely key to the world.
We aren't taken seriously.
We need some action.
I think violence against women is a major issue.
We need some manual interventions.
We actually need to be more mindful about how we are treating women in business and how we're treating women more broadly in terms of gender parity in the UK.
Sisterhood. I think what I want to say is sisterhood is all important.
Hello, everyone. I really wish I could be there with you today. My name is Gill Whitty-Collins, and I am the author of Why Men Win at Work and How We Can Make Inequality History. Why did I write that book? I was previously at Procter & Gamble for over 26 years. I was the Senior Vice President for the beauty business for Europe, India, Middle East and Africa as my last job there. And I left there a few years ago, promising myself that the first thing I would do when I left would be to write a book about all the things that I'd learned and seen about gender inequality and diversity at the very, very senior levels. When I got to that senior vice president level and I was in board meetings, executive meetings that became really over 80% men, I really started to understand the power of the male dominant culture and how difficult it is for women to succeed and perform in the male dominant culture. So I was absolutely fascinated by it, wanted to share the things that I'd learned, the things that I've learned cause the gender equality issue, but also the things that we can do about it, because I do believe that when we understand why this happens, we can work on it and we can fix it all together, all genders.
Hello, I'm Juliet Mitchell. I'm very pleased to be here with you today. I am a writer, a lecturer, now an emeritus professor at the University of Cambridge, and I live in Cambridge, and I'm going to talk to you from Cambridge, in fact. And just feel very good to be with you. I love Brighton, I love the sea there. And I'm going to visit just next week to my brother who lives in Lewis. I started life as a lecturer in English literature. My degrees are in English literature, but I moved to psychoanalysis with a book that's still very much in print called Psychoanalysis in Feminism, in which I had got very involved in the women's movement, very, very active in the second wave feminism, as it was then called. And I was arguing with feminists that the fact, particularly in America, that they've thought that Freud and psychoanalysis was the biggest enemy they could have. I wrote a book saying, no, we've got to use this because it's only really the understanding unconscious processes that actually tell us why the depth of women's oppression, as I'd call it, is lifelong and world-long throughout all time. And it's being feminine, for example, if you're in some other oppressed group, like a racist group or something like that, that you're actually called feminine. It's always the negative, as it were. And why is this for all history? And I've still continued this. My most recent book just came out a couple of weeks ago, this month. It's called Fratriarchy, the sibling trauma and the law of the mother. And perhaps I should emphasize the law of the mother and just say, I'm very pleased to meet you. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Becky Lodge, and I'm the founder of Startup Disruptors. Startup Disruptors is the largest online business community incubator in the Solent region in the UK. I started the online digital brand in 2016 from the kitchen table, and we're a spin out of the University of Portsmouth Business School, who are one of our main sponsors and supporters in everything that we do to actually help women, neurodivergent people and their allies to succeed in business across the UK. I wanted to say thank you for the invitation to this event today because gender parity is really, really important in Britain. Currently, only 1 in 4 businesses in Britain is run by a woman, and I think that that needs to change. We have set about doing that at Startup Disruptors, having helped 5,000 people to start their business from the kitchen table since 2016, and actually helping them raise £2 million in grant and private sector funding to do so. But what are the main challenges for women out there at the moment? Funding is huge. We need to be funded better and more quickly. Also, we aren't taken seriously. So I bowled up very, very early on in my startup journey to my local growth hub, and I was laughed out of the room because I said I wanted to start a digital incubator. We actually need to be more mindful about how we are treating women in business and how we're treating women more broadly in terms of gender parity in the UK.
I deeply believe that most men in this world are good and decent and well-intended, and they don't wake up in the morning and think, how can they build the patriarchy today and destroy women and their careers? And yet still this happens. So what's not working is all of those invisible and unconscious forces that lead us to believe that men are better for the job. Whatever the big job it is, we keep choosing the man. And we keep choosing the man despite the fact that we know that there should be at least as many amazing women who could do that job. And those are invisible forces like the invisible power of culture, the competence versus confidence equation. I talk a lot about the umbrella theory, the time issue, the unpaid work issue, and this invisible ceiling that's created by all of these things. Even if it's unintended, it tangibly holds women back. If all these things were not there, and if we were working on all of those things, it's very simple. We would see a gender balanced leadership in this world.
You and I are very privileged, but for example, I walk across the common in the middle of Cambridge to go for lunch or something. I would never walk back across it once it got dark at all. I would be mad to do so. I think it has to just be a real process of getting everybody to know how serious it is, which is not to be anti-men, it's just to be anti-violence, which is perpetrated against women. As it's perpetrated against other social groups too, but it's always also women. So I think, yes, sisterhood is where I would say we've come a long way, and let's go even further.
I truly believe that the world is a better and more inclusive place if we include women at the table. There's a raft of statistics around this, but unfortunately, only 1 in 4 businesses in Britain are actually run by women currently, and that does need to change as well. Today, you're at this event to speak about all things woman. So thank you so much for the invitation to actually be part of this as well.
Feminism itself has moved from a relatively small, but vulnerable process, which has been with us on and off for centuries, but obviously since the suffragettes and so on. And I think there's more consciousness of the need to have a good politics, and I think the growth of it is a very good thing. It's a very good thing. Sisterhood. I think what I want to say is sisterhood is all important.
Please do find me on LinkedIn. I'm Becky Lodge. I would be delighted to talk to anybody who's watching this today about how we can help get you more funding, more mentoring and more support. And it's been a lovely delight to be able to share briefly a little bit of my background with you and how we help. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm going to press the stop button now, and I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.